Hey folks, I'm Janet Wishman. I'm one of your Global Campus Business Advisors, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about your Academic Progress Report. Your Academic Progress Report or your Academic Requirements Report is your audit at WSU. It's your official audit. It's really important that you're familiar with it because this is the audit that will determine your graduation status. So make sure that when you're working with your advisor that you're reviewing your Academic Requirements Report every semester and talking to your advisor about any questions that you have. So in order to run your academic requirements report, it's actually pretty simple. You're going to go into My WSU, which you should be very familiar with. From My WSU, you're going to click on this tile here, which is called Academic Advising. From Academic Advising, you'll have a menu on your left-hand side, and you're going to click here on Academic Progress. Now, once you click on Academic Progress, your view will look something like this. And it will open up your advisee requirements. It will have your name. In this case, we're looking at Butch Cougar. And then it will show your audit. From here, you have a couple of options. You can collapse everything down, which you don't really want to do. You can expand everything, or you can view your report as PDF. The way that the audit currently runs, any area that is already completed will collapse down on its own. So viewing in this format is actually really helpful because you can visually see the areas that you've already completed. As an advisor, a lot of times I like to expand all so that I could see how individual activity or individual items are completed as well. Another option that you have here is view as PDF. View as PDF is really helpful too because it gives you an easily printable version. So if you were to view as PDF, this is how it looks. As you can see here, it's 5 pages. It's basically the same information. This gives you a nice visual, which is showing you're not satisfied in red, so you can very easily see what items are not satisfied. Also, it gives you an option to print it, and you can mark this up if you want to. A lot of times I recommend looking at your academic requirements report in conjunction with your planning worksheet. So this is the planning worksheet that you would receive your first semester here. Your advisor might also send it to you if there are some updates, but the information on this planning worksheet should correlate exactly with what is on your academic requirements report. Now, keep in mind that we don't update this academic or this planning worksheet every semester. So for instance, if you were a few semesters in and you've taken a couple of these courses, it may not show on your original planning worksheet, but it will show in your audit. One of the reasons that this academic requirements report is so nice is because it is real time. So as you're enrolling for classes and as you're completing classes, you will see those noted on here. For instance, for this student, for Butch, you see these courses are in progress. So they're showing up here with the IP on the printed version. And when you look at the live version, you'll see these yellow diamonds. I apologize. Those are diamonds. So the yellow diamonds on your planning worksheet do indicate that those courses are in progress. Whenever you see this kind of green check mark, that means that a course is already completed. You'll also see that sometimes the grade is a specific grade and sometimes it has a T in front of it. So if it has a T in front of it, that tells you that this is a transfer course. And if you click on this icon here under transfer equivalent detail, it will give you additional information about where specifically that course transferred in so that you can see that as well. All right, so when you're reading your academic requirements report, it does read kind of like an outline. So you'll see that there's this kind of light gray box, and that will box certain areas. And there's going to be some distinct areas. So specifically, we're looking at your undergraduate university requirements, which is your very, very general requirements. Your writing portfolio will show up there, your UCOR, your specific College of Business requirements, amplifier requirements, and then your major requirements as well. But you'll always see those specific areas boxed in kind of like an outline. You can also go in and you can collapse individual areas if you use these arrows. So anytime you see an arrow that's pointed down, it means that section is completely expanded. But if you see that arrow pointed to the right, it means it's collapsed down and you can expand it from the live version. This is kind of a static version that I'm using just for visuals, so it doesn't have all of the functionality. But if you were to click on this, then the arrow would point right and this entire area would collapse down. All right, so for your undergraduate university requirements, you want to remember this is your very general, your most general university requirement. So the requirements that every single student is required to complete at WSU. This does not include any major specific requirements at all. So for instance, 120 units is required because 120 is the minimum number of credits that any students can earn here at must earn here at WSU to earn any degree. This number of credits may not be the same as what's on your planning worksheet. In this case, it's very similar, but you can check that at the very bottom of your planning worksheet here, total credits for graduation. So Butch is actually going to graduate at 120, or in this case, 121 credits. This number may be much larger for you. If it says 150 credits, for instance, then this number is not going to be accurate as far as what you need to complete to meet all of your program requirements. Because again, remember, this number only talks about that very, very basic 120 credit requirement for graduation. In addition, you're going to see a 2.0 GPA because again, this is the very minimum GPA to graduate. For business students, the GPAs that we're looking at are more in the 2.5 or higher. Remember, you need at least a 2.5 to admit into your major, and you need at least a 2.5 business GPA moving forward. You'll also see 40 upper division credits. Again, the minimum to graduate is 40 upper division credits. Additional kind of pieces of information here, you'll see incomplete or in progress coursework. So this will show anything that you're currently enrolled in. Remember that you cannot graduate with incomplete. So if you ever have a class showing up here with an I grade, for instance, maybe you took Accounting 230 over fall semester and you got an incomplete, that must resolve before you can graduate. So it just says including any I, X, or blank grade. So every grade must be submitted in order to graduate. Moving on down. We now have our writing portfolio. That's just this very small section. As hopefully you recall from orientation, you do have to complete that writing portfolio once you hit 60 credits. It will only show up here once it's scored. So you might see a writing portfolio hold and then submit your writing portfolio and then see that hold disappear. And that's fine, but it won't show up in your audit until it's actually scored and submitted into the system. The next section is your UCORS. So again, we're still at the very kind of basic general university requirements. Your university common requirements or UCORS requirements are your general education courses at WSU. Something to note is, for instance, Butch has a transfer degree, so you'll see routes completed through transfer agreement. If you were to have taken any of these courses here, you would see those individual courses show up. One thing to note is that this capstone, even though Butch has a transfer degree, the capstone is not completed. And that's because all business students do have a capstone course, this Management 491, which is your strategic management. HBM has a slightly different course, but you do have a capstone course built into your program. It should also be noted on your planning worksheet. So you will never see your UCORS completely satisfied until that capstone is completed. So just make sure that you don't take an additional capstone because we know that one is coming for your major. The next section is your College of Business requirements. So these are all of your general business requirements, because if you recall, you're working on a Bachelor's of Arts in Business Administration with the specific major. So in Butch's case, he's working on a marketing major. So a lot of the coursework is very similar. Your admissions to major requirements, your lower division business, and even into your business core are all going to be the same regardless of which major you're completing. So this College of Business requirements section is basically all of those courses that are similar between all of the business majors. So you're going to start off with your admissions to major requirements, which include your BA courses, your HBM, your math course, and then your economics course. Here we'll move on into your lower division business requirements. And again, these will all correlate to what is on your planning worksheet. So we've got those lower division business requirements, which hopefully you remember are kind of those supporting classes. So these are those prerequisites, of course, to some of your higher courses. And then moving on down, you will also see some of these general requirements. So at the very bottom of your planning worksheet, you'll see additional College of Business requirements. So that's where you'll see these, including the social science or humanities, the communications, and the English courses. So those will all be listed there. And then these upper division business requirements. So again, the business core, since they are similar in all of your programs, those will show up here as well. A couple other notes, you'll also have an upper division residency check. So this residency, it just says that any student who graduates from WSU with a business degree must complete at least 9 courses in business at WSU. This is something that will, in essence, self-fulfill. However, if you do have some upper division coursework that transferred that came over as business equivalencies, you just want to make sure you're hitting that 9 required. Again, this number is also listed here on your planning worksheet, and it should be something that your advisor is looking out for. But if you did transfer several courses, do make sure that you're meeting at least that 9 upper division business course for residency. And you'll also see your international experience requirement showing here. And again, that's going to be on your planning worksheet. You may have a slightly different version of the planning worksheet, but those requirements should be marked in some way, and your advisor should be talking to you about those. You also will see your Carson Career Amplifier. See if I can make this a little bigger for you. Your Carson Career Amplifier program. Now, I've collapsed this down just in consideration of time and space. So I'm not going to show you all of the Carson Career Amplifier requirements. Your amplifier requirements, as you should be aware, you can view through Suitable. So that's the best place to look at them. But when you run your academic requirements report, you will also see your amplifier requirement. It just takes up a lot of space. So I've chosen to collapse that for this resource video today. Okay. And then I think it's the final section. Yes, the final section is going to be your major. So in this case, again, Butch is a marketing student. So we're going to put those marketing requirements at the end here. So you'll see all of your major requirements. You'll see what is required. You'll see what maybe is an elective and what you can choose from. Your program capstone, which is that strategic management, or in the case of HBM students, the 495, that will show up here. Any elective. So for instance, marketing, there's actually 2 sections of electives. There's a management elective, and then there's a marketing elective. So those, again, are all part of the major. You'll see your upper division business requirements, which here we'll show that down here. And then you'll see a section called writing in the major. Now, for all of our majors on Global Campus, we do have writing in the major worked in already. You'll see those noted on your planning worksheet with the M. If you are a change of campus student, however, It is really important to make sure that you have your writing in the major completed. At Global Campus, we don't have as many options with our major electives. And so we have major electives that are available that meet that writing in the major requirement. So that's something to look for. If you've always been at Global Campus, then those will be worked into your program. Okay. Another thing you'll notice when you look here, let me make it a little smaller. You might see options that are not noted on your plan. So for instance, this capstone, I told you we're using strategic management, management 491, which again is on your planning worksheet. However, your audit will tell you you can also take entrepreneurship 492. Entrepreneurship 492, small business strategy and planning, is not a course that is offered at Global Campus. And also, for instance, in the marketing management electives, you'll see 3 options here. You'll see the 490, Entrepreneurship 490, iBusiness 482, and then Marketing 461. However, on your planning worksheet of those, you'll only see the iBusiness 482 because that's the only option that we offer here at Global Campus. So one of the big differences, again, is that your audit is going to show you every way you can fulfill a requirement, whereas your planning worksheet will show you the specific way that Global Campus students are fulfilling those requirements. So that's why you might see a discrepancy there. Awesome. And that's really about it. It is pretty simple once you get into it, but it can be a little intimidating when you're first getting started. The really nice thing about your audit is that as you're completing requirements, these sections will collapse. So by the time you're doing your final review of your audit, when it's time for graduation, you should really see just about everything collapsed down, with the exception of possibly like, the incomplete, because that's going to show your in progress courses, or possibly your overall credits. Now, these overall credit counts, remember, will not count anything that is in progress. So for instance, Butch has taken 57.62 credits. Now, this number is not going to round up, so we kind of round that down to 57. It's not including these 12 credits. So by the end of this semester, Butch will have completed 69 credits. So that's something important to remember as well. But that's one of the really great things about the audit, is by the time you're graduating, it does become really easy to review and know that you're on track for graduation. All right, well, that is really about it. So if you have additional questions about your academic requirements report, make sure you're reaching out to your advisor. Remember, ultimately, it's your responsibility as the student to make sure that you understand all of your graduation requirements. So you do really need to get into this audit, look at it every semester, and make sure if you see anything that you don't understand, that you're having those conversations with your advisor. Wonderful. Well, thanks for joining me today. Hopefully that helps you understand your academic requirements report a little bit more. Remember, if you have additional questions, make sure you reach out for advising. That's why we're here, to make sure that you're aware of everything that's going on and that it's smooth sailing through your degree. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.